Mic'd up with Jake and Fulton, coming to you on a Red Friday. We've got Chiefs, Jayhawks, and Wildcats football to get to today. We'll preview a little college football and around the NFL. We've got our over-unders at the midseason point for the big dogs for the Kansas City Chiefs. Just how close were we and Vegas on Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, Nick Bolton, and more. We'll get to the midway point of the over-under series that we've done this week. We're going to talk with John Morris, the voice of the Baylor Bears. We're going to see what Baylor has done to turn things around after a loss to West Virginia on a Thursday night. We will talk with Chris Level of Texas Tech. Can the Jayhawks get to 7 wins? 7. How many years has it taken the Jayhawks to get to 7 wins prior to this year?
2008.
No. Like combined.
Oh, combined?
Yeah.
I think they had like a couple back-to-back 3-win seasons. So, I mean, I think there's like a 3-season stretch where it probably took it.
No, so we got 2. So, they have won 5 games since 2019. And in 2018, they went 3-9. So, the Jayhawks have already won as many games as 21, 20, 19, and then half of 18 combined. If they get to 8 wins, they would have gotten as many wins this year as the last 4 years combined. 18, 19, 20, and 21. People forget they went 0-9 in the COVID year.
Oh, people don't forget, Jake.
Do you remember when they didn't play the game against Texas because of COVID?
Yeah.
And if they would have lost, they would have lost 100 games in that decade. Had been the first school in Power 5 history to lose 100 games in 10 years. And now look at where they're at. Going bowling. How about that?
How things have changed.
Landslide.
It's great.
Getting her done. We got so much to get to. As always, hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Love to get your thoughts on our Big O Tires text line, as well as on Twitter at SportsOn580. Very simple, very easy to get to, at SportsOn580. And check us out on the interwebs and cyberspace on YouTube, youtube.com/@SportsOn580. Very simple, very easy. Go to YouTube, search Sports on 580 in the little search function. Click on it, and you get all of our recaps, like the game last night against North Dakota State for KU. Got everything up there. Our Washburn Coaches Show yesterday with head coach Craig Shurk. All of our videos up on our YouTube page on Sports on 580. We'll go around the NFL. We'll talk a little bit about the run game for the Kansas City Chiefs. But first and foremost, Chiefs and Jags noon kickoff. Been a bit since we've had one of these. Haven't had many noon kickoffs, but a noon kickoff against the Jags. Our keys to the game coming up Sunday, 11 o'clock pregame coverage right here on your home for Chiefs football, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9. Red zone offense versus red zone defense. That is the key. Keeping the Jags football team kicking field goals in the red zone. Jacksonville is 21st in the league in red zone touchdown. 52% of the time they score a touchdown. That's half. Every time they get in the red zone, they're kicking a field goal or getting stopped, one of the two. Keep that going. Keep that going if you are the Chiefs defense. And the reason why the red zone is so important is the biggest gaps between the regular offense, which is every single possession before the red zone and then in the red zone, The Jags have the 5th biggest difference. Fun fact, the Broncos, they've got the widest variance of how good they are non-red zone to red zone. That doesn't surprise me because they stink in the red zone.
Yeah, they can't seem to score inside the 20.
Fun fact here, the Bills are number 2. They got 5 turnovers in the red zone.
Yeah, the reason the Bills red zone EPA is so bad is just they turn the ball over all the time.
Seahawks, then the Bucks, and then the Jags. The Jaguars actually have a decent offense until they get into the red zone. So red zone defense, hold them out of the red zone. And I think Doug Peterson is going to go for it a lot on 4th down in the red zone. He knows that field goals are not going to win this puppy, considering his defense has not been great. So for me, the number one key in this one, red zone defense. 3 points is a win. A stop is a win. There are 2 or 3 outcomes once you get into the red zone that are positive for the Kansas City Chiefs. A stop or a field goal. That's a win. Get it done in the red zone, something that the Jaguars have struggled with, because if they go 4 of 4 in the red zone, this is going to be a game. It really, really will. So red zone defense for this Jaguars team going to be important for the Chiefs.
Yeah, trying to find a way to definitely stiffen up there on the opportunities that they have, because the Jags can't move the ball. It's a bit surprising. That's why my first key for this game is just you have to be able to stop Travis Etienne in this one, because he has really started to pick things up since being handed to the reins, being the full-time running back starter. He has 3 straight 100-yard rushing games. He is averaging nearly 6 yards a carry. He is explosive. He is shifty. He can move, and he is even a threat to catch the football a little bit out of the backfield. You have to find a way to stop him and slow him down a little bit there, because if you're the Jags, they're going to want to throw the ball more than Tennessee did. They're not going to, be content with, 50 rushes and only like 10 pass attempts. They're going to want to let Trevor Lawrence, sling it around a little bit. But their offense becomes so much more difficult to stop when Etienne gets going and when it's harder to keep him corralled, because then you have to worry about things like play action. You have to, maybe stack your box a little bit tighter. And now everyone's got to, get more opportunities at one-on-ones and everything like that on the backside. And someone can just, get crafty or make a play or things like that. If you pile up Etienne and can try and make this offense a bit more one-dimensional, Trevor Lawrence is still in a growth phase as a quarterback. He's definitely played better this year than last year because he has an actual real head coach in charge of him now.
And he's got Etienne, that helps.
And he's got Etienne, which does help him. But if you take away that help and put all that weight back on Trevor Lawrence's shoulders, Lawrence has been known to make some mistakes and cost this team some chances. Part of the reason they struggle in the red zone are turnovers generated by Trevor Lawrence when he tries a bit too hard or loses some focus. So if you are able to try and put all the weight back on Lawrence and don't let Etienne shoulder some of that, you'll be able to stymie this Jaguars offense a lot better.
My second key is protect Patrick Mahomes. It is not a secret. If you protect Patrick Mahomes, he is going to eviscerate you. Look at the Bucks. Look at the 49ers. Look at the second half against the Raiders. He is going to destroy you. He is Thanos. Okay? The Jags quietly are pretty decent at getting to the quarterback. They are 8th in pressure percentage. They have 85 pressures. That's 6th in the NFL. Just 4 behind the Chiefs. You protect Mahomes, you win. And the reason why is this is not a great secondary for the Jaguars. They are not very good at tackling. They give up a lot of yards after the catch. They give up a lot of air yards. This is a team that also gets penalized a bunch. This is a spot for the Chiefs offense. If you protect Mahomes, everything will work. Everything. And you will score 30, and the Jags are not going to score 30. That is why the second key is to protect Mahomes against a better than average pass rush for the Jaguars.
This is the Jags defense that would surprise some people to know that they're the 10th best scoring defense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
This Jags defense is better than I think anyone really realizes, and that's why my second key for this one, in addition to just, trying to beat this good team, avoid turnovers in this one. The Jags have been pretty sneaky good at finding ways to generate interceptions, generate fumbles. They average about a turnover to 2 turnovers generated a game at this point. That's the way you let a team that is below you in talent level stay with you, is when you make mistakes, particularly you give them the ball back. This Jags defense doesn't need any extra help and doesn't need help trying to get stops or anything like that. Don't, if you're Pat Mahomes, don't for some reason throw a silly interception because you're trying too hard or you're pressing. If you're just, if you're running the football, or if you're Kelsey or MVS or anybody, don't swing it wildly. Keep it with you, because the last thing you need to give this team energy and give this Jags team a belief that they can fight back and beat you, don't give them silly turnovers to keep them in the game.
The Jags' schedule recently has not seen an offense like the Kansas City Chiefs. They've faced the Raiders, and we know about the Raiders. They've faced the Broncos. They faced the Giants. They have faced the Colts, and then the Texans. That is their last 4 games. Excuse me, 5 games. Raiders, Broncos, Giants, Colts, Texans. When they've faced a good offense, they've given up points. And so I look at this Chiefs team as the best offense they've seen since the Eagles. I think the Chiefs should handle themselves right now. Now, do they cover the 9.5 points? I would not bet this game.
It's in that danger zone of where you really worry about something stupid happening to create a backdoor.
Yep. I can see the Chiefs being up by 14 points or something like that. And then they give up a touchdown late. That concerns me a bit if I were wagering this game. I wouldn't play with this, because I think the Chiefs are going to win this game comfortably. But this is one where that's a lot of points.
It is
a lot of points. I mean, you could be up 15. They get a late touchdown. Chiefs are still going to win, but you're going to be a little bit sad. Much like what happened to me last night.
Yeah, Jake with the baddest beat in the universe.
The North Dakota State KU game. KU covering 30 every single game. And then all of a sudden last night, Joe Schmo from NDSU hits a deep 3, and I lost by the hook. I got a 23.5 last night, Fulton.
I
was feeling good.
Yeah.
It was a 28-point game. I'm like, we're good.
Yeah.
Three-pointer. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Basketball is the worst sport for backdoor covers.
Well, the only reason I bet on the basketball game last night is because my dad's an NDSU grad, and I wanted to bet on the Hawks to cover so I could talk mad trash to him. And instead, it backfired big time. Not only can I not talk trash, they get to, and I lost money in the process. Hope KU loses every game the rest of the year.
Well, that KU Halo Bond back in the building.
Yeah, I am.
Wow.
I have no problem saying that right now, because the wound is still very fresh. That was what we call a 2-for-1 bad beat for me. So yeah, I hope Duke smokes them.
That's just rude.
No, it isn't.
That's rude.
How is that rude?
That's rude.
I'm no. How is that rude?
Because you're taking frustration on KU for just something silly.
That wasn't silly.
It's not their fault that a dude hoisted up a random prayer 3 and made it.
Guard him. Guard him.
They did the work all game.
That's what KU. No, they should have done better. KU can't find a way to close it out. That's 2 games in a row. KU 0-2 against the spread this year.
Big spreads are dangerous.
Well, good teams win.
Great teams cover.
Yeah. KU last year would have covered. Look what happened. They won the title. How about that? Very simple. Who's your big chief?
Another week, another game where stopping the run is important. Therefore, and the most unsurprising pick of the century, it's Nick Bolton again.
You didn't put that down, though.
I didn't. I just realized now I didn't write it into our notes here. That's my bad. But yeah, no, when the Chiefs need to be able to stop the run, Nick Bolton has to be the guy spearheading that. It was him last week who spearheaded the charge in the second half. He needs to spearhead the charge against ETN in this one.
Yeah, this is the one as well, like stopping the run. You got to get ETN before he gets going.
Yeah. You have to get him as quickly as possible, both in the context of carries just generated throughout the game and when he's just running in the progression of a play. Because once he gets kind of moving, that's when his shiftiness gets in there. If you get to him quickly, you neutralize his ability to kind of run around and make you miss a little bit. When you get hands on him, though, you got to put him down.
Juju, he's on a roll, man.
He's on a heater.
On a roll. So I like Juju Smith-Schuster to have another big game in this one. I think people are going to start focusing on Travis Kelce, and then he's going to end up big. Just to let you know, we were wondering about roster construction for this week. You know, what are they going to do with their 18 wide receivers and 4 tight ends and 8 running backs and everything? How are they going to do it? Well, McCole Hardman was not at practice today. I don't think he's playing Sunday. So if McCole Hardman's not playing, guess who's inactive? McCole Hardman. Guess who will be active? Kadarius Toney. I think Fortson's going to be back this coming Sunday. So the question is, which wide receiver or tight end, and I'm using air quotes here, will be hurt or injured so that they can keep this good old ham and egg roster construction going. Also, L'Jarius Sneed back at practice today, too.
That's kind
of nice. Got to have somebody guard Christian Kirk. Because that's basically it.
Pretty much.
That's basically it.
Very much.
Coming up next, the run game for the Chiefs. How does it go against the Jags? We'll get to that coming up next. Coming up, we're going to go around the NFL. Plenty more interesting matchups. Unlike last night's game. Although it did get interesting at the end. The Falcons did get within one touchdown.
Yeah, the Falcons made it intriguing at the end of the game.
They did make it intriguing. Man, that division just sucks.
It's bad.
Oh, man.
It's just 4 bad teams playing bad football.
Not good.
Just awful.
Not good.
Every single bit of it.
We'll go around the NFL. Coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, we're going to talk with John Morris, voice of the Bears, talk a little Cats and Bears football for a huge game for Kansas State. I mean, that thing is monstrous. Will the Chiefs take on the Jaguars? How many rushing attempts will the Chiefs have in the first half? Will they have 10?
I would like to see about 10 to 15. I would like to see them try and establish the running game a little bit, because that's the thing with running games is even when they're not working, sometimes you just do have to stick with it, because that's how running the football works.
How many times will they run it on 1st and 10?
Oh, it's going to be more than enough that's going to start making my head hurt. Because there's a few times you should. I mean, but it shouldn't be every first down.
You got to mix it up so that people just don't know for a fact, like, oh gosh, every first down they run it 90% of the time. Well, if they run it 90% of the time on first down, you need to, play into the percentage a little bit and do a, run blitz or slant or go, add a, maybe go double eagle up front, something of that nature, like get bigger. So no, I just wonder how after the game against the Titans, where they ran it 4 times, non-Patrick Mahomes division, what will they do against the Jags? The Jags are good against the run. They only give up 105 on the ground. That's 7th in the NFL. So you go from the Titans now to the Jags. If the Jags completely stuff the run, are we looking at, 60 more passes for Patrick Mahomes in this one? Like, I want to know what is, hey, we need to invest in the run a little bit more. I am not saying run it 30 times, but I'm also saying, find a happy medium. 18 to 20 carries, 40 passes, it's pretty simple when it comes to this the Chiefs offense, what makes them much more efficient.
Yeah, there's just a level of balance that can be achieved adding a little bit of that running game in there, trying to do it and not throwing it 65 times.
And the reason I say in the first half is because I expect the Chiefs to be leading, so they're going to run it more.
Yeah, you'll run it more when you're ahead, but what will you do when the game script's more neutral?
We'll see what the Chiefs do in the first half with the run. Will they try to establish the run? Coming up, we'll go around the NFL. Up, Jake Fulton Caster with you. Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Let's go around the NFL. The biggest news is very simple. Will Josh Allen play? According to reports, he is hour by hour. They're laying a little thick, aren't they?
Just a little bit.
A little thick. He hasn't practiced all week. I don't see him playing in this game. I think it is Case Keenum's job this Sunday against the Vikings. And so we'll have to wait till the official injury report will be out. Will he be listed as out, or will it be listed as questionable?
He's going to be questionable. They'll say it's game time decision.
I think
I just want to be prepared for that, especially if for some reason you're deeply attached to and care about the Buffalo Bills. Maybe you're a Bills fan, sir. I don't know.
Hey, this is an important game for us.
Yeah, it is. If the Bills going down, very beneficial. He's gonna be questionable. And Sean McDermott's gonna say we will make him a game time decision. Like, we're not going to know about this till Sunday. Sunday morning, you'll know the answer.
This is the biggest and the most high profile game is the Vikings and the Bills, because one, the Vikings are the number 2 seed in the NFC, and the Bills are the number 1 in the AFC. And if the Bills lose and the Chiefs win, they now are the number 1 seed, are the Kansas City Chiefs, if they hold on. So Vikings and Bills, the line is 3.5. Okay. The line ain't 3.5 if Josh Allen's playing or even healthy.
Yes.
Okay. So that's why they've got Case Keenum throwing it to Gabe Davis and Nyheim Hines and Stephon Diggs and Dawson Knox. They think that they're going to beat the Vikings. You taking the Bills or the Vikings if Case Keenum is at quarterback?
If it's Case Keenum, I actually think the Bills still get the win. That Vikings team ain't good.
7-1.
They have played the Little Sisters of the Poor for the past 7 games. Like, since they lost to Philly and got embarrassed on Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Kirk.
Yeah, they've been terrible. Like, no, even if it's Case Keenum, the Bills still. Now, the other problem to this is Greg Rousseau and Jordan Poyer are going to play. They are out. They are out. They are done. They are not playing in this game. That has already been put out there. So, Their door is wide open for Minnesota to win this game.
All right. The Vikings beat the Commanders, but, I mean, they've played the Cardinals and the Dolphins two of the last 3 games.
The Cardinals are bad, and the Dolphins had Teddy Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, they did. Good point.
Just putting that out there, bud.
Good call. Good call.
That wasn't with Tua. That was mainly with Skylar. Then Skylar got hurt.
Yeah.
And Teddy had to come in.
That's right. Man, they played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive 1-score games.
That too.
Beat the Lions by 4, the Saints by 3, the Bears by 7, the Dolphins by 8, Cardinals by 8, and the Commanders by 3.
They didn't have a comeback win against the Commanders.
So are you no Greg Rousseau? No, quit straddling the fence here, Switzerland.
No, I told you I'm taking the Bills. I said it is important to remember all those things, and that means the door is wide open for Minnesota. I am still thinking Buffalo will win because they're just the better overall team, and Minnesota is not good.
Okay, not good.
They are a paper tiger, the paperest of paper tigers.
I'm going to take the Vikings.
Good for you.
Going with the Vikings.
You're doing that less because you believe Minnesota, more because you want Buffalo to lose, so it helps Kansas City.
That, and if the Vikings do win, I can shove it in your face.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's part of the reason there too. But that's a big game, man. It really is. Really is. There are 2 other games that catch my interest. Number 1, the Chargers and the 49ers. This is an important game for both teams right now, because the Chargers, if they lose this one and they take on the Chiefs and then they lose that game, they will be 5-5. The Chiefs will be 8-2. They will have a 3-game lead, and the Chiefs will have brought out the brooms and swept the Chargers, if that does occur.
Yeah.
So that is why this is an important game. If the Chargers win and the Chiefs win, Chiefs are just 1 game back, or 1 game ahead. Chargers 1 game back, and the Chargers still have a chance at the AFC West. I mean, they legitimately do. So I think that's a big one. And then same thing for the 49ers. The 49ers right now, they got to make sure that they stay with the Seahawks. I mean, right now, the Seahawks have played in 9 games. The 49ers have played in 8, so the Seahawks still have to have their bye week coming up. But you can't afford, the old, hey, I birdied this hole, you bogeyed it. Now I got a 2-game, two-stroke swing on it.
They need to keep pace with what Seattle's doing. And so, it's a big must-win for both those teams.
So I think that low-key is a big game. It affects the Chiefs, but also the 49ers could dip down below 500 and go 4-5. How are they going to handle this game? They had an emotional win last week, had to, take care of business. So I think that's an interesting game for me going forward on this one. If you take out the Vikings and the Bills, just simply because of the Josh Allen factor and variable, this is the next most intriguing game to me, is the Chargers and the 49ers.
No, that's going to be very interesting. An intriguing game for me this week. The game itself is going to be bad. Do not watch this, because the football is going to be disgustingly bad.
See, you want to know what the fun thing about this is? I have no idea what game you're talking about, because I think there are going to be a lot of bad games, so I have no idea.
Honestly, kind of fun there. No, this game is going to be disgustingly bad. It's Broncos and Titans. That game matters.
Yeah.
Tennessee, if they win, let's say Tennessee wins and Buffalo loses. Tennessee's your number 2 seed in the AFC. Let's say the Chiefs somehow lose to the Jags. Hopefully not, but any given Sunday, all that jazz. The Titans are still right there to what they could steal a number 1 seed. And I will word it as steal with how they've played football. I will word it that way. But they're right there. They, beating Denver, they need to do to keep pace, and they should, because they should have Ryan Tannehill back this week, and the Broncos are so bad. And if you are Denver, the door is open the smallest of cracks to stay in the playoff hunt in the AFC West. It is a small opening, but it is open. And it starts with beating Tennessee and going to 4-5. both of those teams need a win to keep pace with their prospective hopes. Like, again, that football will be bad. That total sitting at like 37.5 right now, I would still take the under. That is a race to 17 points. You will not enjoy your afternoon if you put that game on TV. You have been warned. But the outcome is important. The outcome does matter.
Can the Broncos pull off a stunner?
They could.
I think they can because their defense is very good.
But it's the defense without Bradley Chubb now. We have to remember that.
Yeah.
They lost some teeth. But overall, still a very good defense. The Titans defense, we just saw how great that defense is. And we documented Denver struggles doing anything offensively.
Yeah.
And they're probably not going to have KJ Hamler for the game. Like, it's going to be ugly football down in Nashville. But the end result, when that game is over, is going to matter for both of those teams.
Yeah. Can they tie?
They technically can.
Because I don't want the Titans to win, but I can't cheer for a Broncos win. Not
I know
yet.
you can't.
Not yet, because I need the Broncos to keep losing.
I agree.
Like, if they go to 3-6.
I need Denver to keep losing until they have 9 wins on their schedule.
Why?
Because then they can't finish above 500. Then the best they can finish is 8-9.
And that's what you want?
I mean, it'd be funny. All their hooting and hollering about Russell Wilson, they finish below 500 would be funny.
I don't think there's a chance they get above 500, man.
I mean, they have to win
wins.
6 games.
Yeah, find me 6 wins right now.
I don't know if Titans is a hard maybe. Raiders is a maybe. Panthers, maybe. Cardinals, maybe.
We got a lot of maybes.
And Rams, maybe. And even then, that's just 5. I can find you 5 maybes.
And that's maybe.
Because then it's, can they beat the Ravens in Baltimore? Probably not, but the Ravens have a propensity to whiz down their leg. Can they beat the Chiefs 1 of 2 times? I don't really think so. Can they beat the Chargers in Denver? Maybe, because it's the end of the year and LA might be phoning it in at that point.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's not great.
I'm with you. The second game that I am interested in, it's for a lot of reasons. One, the Chiefs play this team later on in the year. They have a chance to stay high atop the division. It involves Tommy. And it's in Germany.
That's the best part.
Seattle versus Tampa Bay in Deutschland. It's a huge game for both of them. It is. Seattle's trying to stay ahead. If they win and the 49ers lose, you're in a good spot there. Tampa Bay's trying to get to 500. Can they do that? 5-5 with a win. And they'd be leading the division. If they don't, and the Saints win, you have a 3-way tie at 4-6.
That is the saddest division in football.
Real bad.
The saddest division in football.
So I want Seattle to win.
Yeah, let Geno cook.
Just because I want to see Brady be 4-6 after 10 games. And it makes that division just hysterical because one of those teams is going to be hosting a playoff game.
Yeah.
So, and they'll be the 4 seed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Who's the 5 seed? Who gets the big benefit there?
As of right now,
it'd be the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Like, how lucky would that be? You'd almost rather be the 5 seed than the 3 seed.
Yeah. You're going to pay a Tampa Bay team that can't score. They can't move the ball.
Yeah.
They don't know how.
Well, they know how. They just can't do it.
Honestly, at this point, I'm thinking they're starting to not know how. I'm thinking Tom Brady might be the only one on that team that knows what it means to move the ball forward. Because good Lord. No, that game's important because with these games, sometimes it's the outcome does matter here. And then just the relevance of it. It's the first regular season NFL game ever played in Germany.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. German fans love American football. It's crazy. Also, just German sports fans in general. Absolute nut jobs. And I mean that in the nicest way. Like, I mean that as the biggest compliment, that German sports fans are just nuts. That stadium is going to be sold out. There are going to be very many, very raucous, inebriated Germans, and they're going to cheer for everything. Like, a 5-yard pass is going to get an eruption. They're just going to be loud and crazy the entire time. It's going to be great. And it also helps that the game actually matters as well. That the outcome, is important. Outside of those, there's just, as always, some bad games on the slate. You're right. When I make watching bad football, there's some bad football play this week again.
But at least it's bad football versus bad football. Like Detroit, Chicago, Denver, Tennessee, New Orleans, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, Las Vegas. You know what I mean? At least it's bad football against bad football.
Indianapolis, Las Vegas, to me, is a game that if you have time, you should watch for one reason and one reason only. What does it look like as Jeff Saturday tries to coach an NFL team?
Man, did you see Joe Thomas today on Good Morning Football?
He was all hot.
And that Joe Thomas, who will be a Hall of Famer.
Should be one of the best left tackle of this generation.
He's awesome. He just basically said what Jim Irsay did was the most embarrassing thing and the most egregious thing that he's seen in his time in the NFL. Because you basically just go to every other coach that's on that staff and says, yeah, you suck. You can't do this. And actually doubled down and said, I like that he doesn't have experience as a head coach. That's a good thing. When you've got everyone there busting their tail, doing all of that to try to be a head coach, and you've got an owner who, Jim Irsay is starting to get a little bit, he's always been a little bit odd, but now he's almost full there.
Yeah.
But he just went in. Holy cow. I have not seen a former player go that strong on another former player, like getting a job. And he called Saturday Jim Irsay's drinking buddy. And he's like, you don't do this. And Saturday, like he's also said in it that, Saturday is taking away a spot. Now, I don't know if I buy that. Look, to each their own. Now, Jeff Saturday can probably be like, I don't deserve this. Look, if someone's going to give me an opportunity to be a head coach sometime for just an interim job, I don't mind Jeff Saturday doing it, but he's got a great point about, oh, yeah, by the way, hey, Reggie Wayne, who you played with Jeff Saturday, you're on the staff right now. Yeah, I'm going to go with some guy who's never been in the NFL coaching before. I'm going to basically just crap on all of you and say, yeah, even though you've worked your butt off for this team this year, I ain't going to do it. He went in. And I get it. I do.
No, I completely do, because when it comes to the Colts situation, I'm with Joe on that, of just the idea of, I'm not going to blame Jeff Saturday for taking the job. I would not blame anyone to just, even if they had no experience, if someone offers you to be an NFL head coach, you're a former player, and you even think about maybe wanting to have that one day, and it's on an interim basis, take it. Like, I'm not mad at Jeff Saturday, but Jim Irsay slapped all those coaches in the face in the room, and I think the biggest slap in the face goes to Reggie Wayne. Because what part of the reason they chose Jeff Saturday was Colts legend.
Yeah.
Is the Colts legend. Is there a bigger Colts legend outside of Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison than Reggie Wayne?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Fair point.
Johnny Unitas.
Fair. Okay. You fair point. Fair point.
Oh, sorry. That was me.
You knew where I was going with this, but you're not wrong, so I'm not mad at you. But Reggie Wayne is on that staff. He is the wide receivers coach. He has coaching experience at the NFL level because he's the wide receivers coach. Like, if you wanted a Colts legend to inspire the fan base to lead your team for a little bit, he was right there for the perfect hire. You would have gotten the same reaction from the fans, like, oh man, cool Colts legend we love coming to coach the team. But he would have had experience, and so he would have felt a bit more comfortable doing those things. You wouldn't have the same question. Your question would just be, well, he's never been a head coach. but he's been around the team all year. He's been around these guys for a little while. Like, I think if anyone gets to be a slap in the face, it's Reggie Wayne. Jim Irsay just basically said, Reggie Wayne, you can do all you want. I'm probably never going to make you head coach. Which, that in of itself can have all of its undertones that exist in that situation. But Jim Irsay basically looked at one of his best former players and said, I don't really feel like ever giving you a chance to lead this franchise you gave so much of your life to.
Just remember, since 2000, they're in the upper quartile of the upper quartile in wins. Jim Irsay. Dude. So those are the games that interest us the most when it comes to the NFL and what is happening. Coming up next, Survivor pick time. Had to squeak one out last week. We'll get to that coming up next. Alrighty, our Survivor pool pick. Fulton's been out of the game for a while, but we trudge on. I am going with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Jake's finally burning the Chiefs.
Burning the Chiefs. And then I'm going to go, or Dan's going to go with the New York Giants.
Dan is currently going to face the exact same problem I faced in our Survivor pool pick. He's picking a team facing the Houston Texans.
Let's go Mills Mafia. Let's go Mills Mafia.
When Dan told me that he was making this pick, I told him, I was like, beware. is beware picking against Houston. It burned me twice. I hope it doesn't do the same. If it does the same to him, no one in this group should ever pick against the Houston Texans ever again.
Who you got for your 3 picks for our 580 Sports Pick'em contest?
I feel confident about a couple of these, but not great on some. I got the Bears covering 3 points versus the Lions. I might be drinking too much of the field's Kool-Aid, but here we are. I have the Oregon Ducks covering their 12.5 against Washington. They've scored 40 points in every game since losing to Georgia.
That's a rival game, though.
I know.
Okay.
The Huskies, though, I think Oregon's gonna have some fun with this one. And then I'm taking the under of 37.5 for Air Force in New Mexico.
Okay.
Lobos can't score. Service academies don't score fast.
I have got LSU minus 3.5 versus Arkansas.
Okay.
The Hogs lost to Liberty. LSU beat Bama, so maybe a little inverse of what's going on.
Could be.
It's just 3.5 points. LSU now realizes that they have a chance to.
They can make the playoff.
Yeah.
If they do enough, they can be a 2-loss team in the playoff.
I'm going to keep riding with the Illinois defense. And Purdue stinks. Illinois, Purdue under 44.5. And then, sorry, Brendan.
Hope you're not listening, buddy.
Cowboys minus 4.5 over the Packers. The Packers offense can't score. They're going up against Cowboys defense that's very good. So give me the Cowboys to cover the 4.5. I've had 4 consecutive winning weeks. All I need.
Proud of you.
I know I've gone 2-1, or last week I went 2-0-1. I had a push.
You did.
So I was even a better winning week. So I'm slowly but surely climbing up the ranks. When you go 0-3 and I go 3-0, I blow by you.
Okay, bud.
It's going to happen.
I'm on a roll still.
Coming up, we're going to talk with John Morris on all things K-State Baylor. Number 2 here on Mic'd Up. We've got lots to get to in this hour. We'll get to Everyone Loves a List. We'll also discuss a little bit more on the midway point of the Kansas City Chiefs season. We will get to that. Coming up in the 2 o'clock hour, it is our good old mulligan of the week. We call it On Second Thought, where we would like to have a redo on something that we decided to take a stand on. But right now, we're going to talk about a monster game down at McLean Stadium in Waco. It is Baylor versus Kansas State. You can hear that game right here on 580 WIBW FM 104.9. Baylor taking on the K-State Wildcats. Baylor needs a win to keep their hopes for the Big 12 title alive. K-State needs a win to keep their hopes for a Big 12 title game appearance alive. And we bring in the voice of the Baylor Bears, John Morris, to talk all things Bears football. And John, when it comes to the Bears, how would you assess this season thus far for the Baylor Bears and Coach Aranda?
Jake, it's great to be on with you. And boy, it shapes up as an elimination game tomorrow, doesn't it? For both Baylor
Yeah.
and K-State, trying to get to Arlington. And man, it is a huge game. Huge game here. There's another huge game in Austin. But that's what you get when you get to November. And it's really fun to be involved in meaningful games in the month of November. And that's what we've got. You ask about Baylor over the course of the season. It's been a work in progress, really, for most of the year. And really just the last 2 or 3 weeks have they, sort of hit their stride and shown the type of team and the identity that they want to show. So they're really, I think, getting better every week and coming along and really playing their best football, I think, here in November. And that's a good sign.
They are running the football like an option team right now, just murdering people. What's been the key for them running the football here recently?
Yeah, and that has been part of the work in progress, because with this wide zone offense, you remember last year when Baylor won the Big 12, this offense was really, really good. It was a fine oiled machine, and the offensive line was doing their part. A couple of backs were splitting time, and they were both doing their part. But this year, it just took a while to get it going. And I'm not saying they are to the level they were last year, but they're getting there, and they're getting much closer to that. It's the offensive line, and that's a bunch of veterans up there. They're doing their job. And then the running backs have really come on of late. Richard Reese is a freshman. He had 2 really good games back-to-back, 186 yards and 148 yards against Kansas and Texas Tech. And then he got sick. He got the flu last Friday night. So we're getting ready to play Oklahoma, and all of a sudden he has the flu and he can't go. Well, Squirrel Williams steps in. He'd missed the last 3 weeks with an injury, and he stepped in and he ran the ball for 192 yards. So the offensive line obviously is doing their part, but these backs are really doing their job as well. And it's resulted in a really beneficial running game, which Baylor has to have to be successful.
I know people are listening right now and they say, wait a minute, did John Morris just call a guy by the name of Squirrel? You got to help me out here with that. I know of the individual, but how does a guy get the nickname Squirrel?
Yeah, it goes back to growing up, and he chased a squirrel. Imagine that, a little kid trying to chase a squirrel. So that's where it came from. And it's not, Jake, your normal spelling.
Yeah, it's
SQWIRL, squirrel. But that's him, and he likes it. And if he likes it, I'm going to call him Squirrel. And man, he was really good last week against Oklahoma. 26 carries, I think, for 192 yards. And a really smart play late in the game. Baylor was driving, just trying to run out the clock, and he broke free, and he would have scored on the long touchdown, but he went down to the ground just so Baylor could keep possession of the ball. He would have scored a touchdown. He would have been right at 200 yards rushing, but very unselfish of him and very disciplined. And from there, Baylor, ran 2 or 3 more plays and ran out the clock. So smart guy on top of a really good running back.
Yeah, you can call anybody anything if they rush for 192 yards at Oklahoma,
right.
And you get a win, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
The offense, though, 38 against Oklahoma, 45 against Tech, put up 35 against KU, 40 in a loss to West Virginia. It's not just the running game. It is the passing game. What's the reason there? Blake Shapen hasn't been great this year, but they're obviously doing something right if you're putting up almost 40 points a game.
Yeah, you bet. It's the offense as a whole, and Blake Shapen's a big part of that. This is his first year as the starter for the Bears. He started a couple games last year, really came in the Kansas State game up there when Gary Bohannon went out with a hamstring injury, and Shapen had to step in and did really well coming in off the bench. And then there was a competition between those two in the offseason through spring, and Shapen won the job. So he has done, I think, as a first-year starter, he's a sophomore. I think he's done really, really well, and he just continues to get better, just more and more comfortable out there, and he really is doing what the coaches want him to do in that quarterback position.
We're talking with the voice of the Baylor Bears, John Morris, here on Mic'd Up, and let's go to the defense. As I mentioned, defensively, what's been the strongest part of this defense? They've had some games where, you look at it, 43 points to West Virginia, but then you hold Texas Tech to 17. So Give me the Bear defense and their strength and kind of what their season's been like.
Yeah, I think getting better every week, like the team as a whole. And early on, they weren't creating turnovers. And that, any team and any defense is going to be better if you can create turnovers. But they just weren't doing that. And Baylor was, kind of shuffling along -3 in takeaways. But the last 2 weeks, they've been +6 in takeaways with 8 interceptions in wins over Texas Tech and Oklahoma. So they're doing much better in that area. The defensive front against Texas Tech was really good with 6 sacks. Not so much, not to that level against Oklahoma. But it's just, a defense that lost some really good hosses, from last year. Terrell Bernard and Jalen Petrie and JT Woods are playing in the pros now. And they just had to, this year's defense just had to, come to the realization those guys are gone. Somebody's going to have to pick up and make the plays that they made the last few years. And they're doing that. It's taken a while, to be honest. And they have been gashed at times, but they are just getting better and better. And I think the schemes are really good under Ron Roberts, our defensive coordinator. So the defense, like the team, is just getting better every week.
So is this kind of strength on strength, or how do you view kind of this game with Baylor's running game going up against K-State's defense, which has had some issues with the stopping the run this year? Do you feel like this is a kind of or it's not strength on strength, but like a strength of one team versus a weakness of another team going up in this game?
Maybe. I think, when you look at this matchup, it's two teams that there are a lot of similarities between these teams. Both like the running game, and obviously Deuce Vaughn is just terrific for Kansas State. And our running backs have been running well. And both teams, I think, want to establish the run and want to run the ball. And I think both teams want to stop the run also. So I just think there's some similarities there between the two and who's going to do better tomorrow. And it's a fun matchup of two really good teams. I mean, these are two really good teams in the Big 12, and how the parity is in the Big 12 this year. So I just think it's going to be a great, great matchup between Baylor and K-State tomorrow.
Do you think it's a high scoring game?
I don't know. I'm not good at that. When I think a game might be low scoring, it's 45-42 or something, or vice versa. So I'm not sure. Right now, I would think low scoring because both teams want to run the ball, which might limit the number of possessions, makes every possession really, really important. So, if you hold my feet to the fire right now, I would guess lower scoring to mid scoring, maybe not a high scoring game.
All righty, I got to ask you a basketball question. The Baylor Bear basketball team, how are the Bears going to be? I know they got a really, really good true freshman in Keontae George. Flagler's back, obviously. How do you view this Baylor Bear basketball team?
I think really good. We've just had one game. We got another one tonight against Norfolk State, so we'll learn more. But it seems like they're really deep, and especially the guard position is really deep, and that's fun to see. They to be honest, didn't have much competition in their first game and won at 117-53. 6 guys in double-figure scoring. So the games are going to get tougher for sure. But just even watching that game that was a blowout, they only had 9 turnovers in the game. So I think really good, deep guards and a real good chemistry on this team with some new guys that are here. You remember Jalen Bridges, who's been at West Virginia. He's at Baylor now. Caleb Lohner transferred to Baylor from BYU. And then Keontae George is just terrific. I mean, this guy can light it up as a true freshman guard. So Baylor, I think, is very well stocked, and they're going to need to be because the league's going to be really tough this year.
All righty, my 2 for the road for you. Last 2 questions I've got for you.
Okay.
Does Chip and Joanna Gaines show up to most Baylor Bear football games?
Most games, and they're in a suite, so I don't see them. You'll be surprised Chip doesn't come by and say hi very often. Sometimes he does, but they're in a suite, but they're there most of the time. If they're in town, I mean, they are great supporters of Baylor, and it's always fun when we've got them at a game.
Yeah. Oh, no question. And how many times does a out of town friend or family member ask you to pick themselves up something from the Magnolia at the silos?
It happens pretty frequently. So we've kind of, to be honest, we've kind of got a stash of Magnolia stuff, and we'll give it at the right time. We'll hand that off to people who are visiting town or family or Christmas or something like that. So yeah, that's a pretty popular gift. So we try to take advantage of Magnolia being right here in Waco.
I can tell you that you are that is next level thinking right there. Just have a supply, be like, look what we got for you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
exactly.
that. We bought it like 2 months ago. That is, man, John, that is the game right there. Well done. John, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Have a great call, and it should be a fun one between Baylor and K-State.
I think so. It's great. Two really good teams. I think it's going to be a great showcase for the Big 12. Jake, it's great to be on with you. Thanks very much.
John Morris, voice of the Baylor Bears. And you want to talk about being a step ahead of somebody. That is it right there.
John probably needed to only deal with about 4 people max asking him for stuff before he started going, you know what?
Maybe I should just have
have a backstock.
Yeah.
Let's just have a backstock of stuff like, oh, someone wants something. Let me just wrap something up real quick. That's genius. That is genius level thinking.
That is thinking a couple shots ahead.
That's chess, not checkers right there.
Oh, you bet. That's like 4-dimensional chess. Oh, yeah. We're talking up and down. And oh, yeah.
What would be the 4th dimension for chess there, Jake?
That's 4th dimension. You just look, if you don't understand, if you have to ask, you can't understand. It's fine.
You see, I think you just wanted to extend the 3-dimensional joke to 4th dimensional. You don't realize that you're talking about 4th dimensional chess. Yeah. We're now getting time involved, and that gets a little tricky.
Well, I'm just saying, if you have to ask, you probably won't understand.
No, I am just making sure you understand that when you say 4th dimensional chess, that's actually hard to do.
I asked you, and
I know what 4th dimensional chess would be.
I don't know.
I'm making sure you know.
I don't know. But yeah, Baylor did win 117-53 their first game. Yeah,
good for the Bears.
They definitely did.
Good for the Bears. They're going to be very good.
Yeah. I just can't wait till North Baylor faces regular Baylor.
I think it's more fun to call it Purple Baylor faces
Purple Baylor.
Because like North Baylor works, but then I mean technically a lot of things can be like we know what we're talking about here, but I can kind of get
Purple Baylor's probably
it fits better with what we're going for here. I think it fits better.
Yeah. Purple Baylor versus.
But I will say I didn't know if I was gonna really like feel the same as you and Dan the first time I watched K-State play of them being Purple Baylor. Then I watched them play and I realized you guys are completely correct.
Yeah, Purple Baylor.
It's just Baylor's been transplanted.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. Like, no one should be upset. Like, Baylor's been very good.
Yeah.
It's good to be playing that style of ball.
I have said for a long time, I don't know why Scott Drew just gets a bad rap.
So he gets a bad rap from Brendan because he's a weird guy. And Brendan just he rubs Brendan the wrong way.
He is not.
I had a great chance in college for my college radio station. But we covered Big 12 Media Days. I got to just sit and interview Scott Drew at Big 12 Media Days. Nicest dude. Was a great time.
Yeah.
Took a lot of time for us students to get reps and do stuff for our own outlets.
Yeah.
So, like, I have nothing against Scott Drew. I don't hate Scott Drew.
No.
Brendan, I think it's just he's a weird dude and it rubs them the wrong way. For whatever reason, that's Brendan's thing.
He's really nice.
Yes, he's an incredibly
Very
nice guy.
Nice. Yes, he is. Coming up next, everyone loves the list. Where would you want to go watch an NFL game? Where? We'll get to that coming up here on Mic'd Up. The list on this Red Friday, and in light of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers facing off against the Seattle Seahawks in Munich, we're going to go international cities that you would like to go watch an NFL football game. Now, the Chiefs are going to be there next year, so there's a chance that you can go watch your own team play over there in Munich.
Would be a good time.
Really would.
I've always wanted a reason to go to Germany outside of just going to Germany.
Facts.
Just that's a little layer on top of that. I don't need extra incentive to find time to eventually visit Germany, but it's an extra little piece.
No. Germany would be awesome.
Germany would be a great time. Truly a great time. Number 4 for me on cities I wouldn't mind going to watch an NFL football game in. I'd love to go to Monterrey in Mexico and watch an NFL football game down south.
Monterrey. Okay. That's not far from UTRGVDS.
It's just UTRGV. You don't need to add all the
Deep
extra
South
letters.
Texas.
But yeah, no, it's not. It's gonna be the one closest of the major Mexican cities that have all these stadiums ready. And they have the border.
They have a phenomenal stadium where their La Liga team plays. Like
exactly,
it's really nice.
It's the facilities. I think it'll be great. I think it'd be a nice city to go to, a little bit closer to the border. I just think it'd be a good time. And watching a football game in Mexico, I think it'd be fun because Mexican sports fans also very into just sports in general. I think it'd be a great time.
Yeah. Mine, it's Estadio Azteca.
That's fair.
And the reason why is because that is an iconic stadium.
Yeah.
My number 4 is there in Mexico City. That would have been great to go watch the Chiefs play. It really, really would have. But yeah, that's where every big event for the U.S. or the Mexican national team soccer plays. Like, Shakira was there, obviously.
She were in the stadium.
Yeah. Estadio Azteca for me, number 4.
That's a good call. Number 3 for me, go north of the border here. Go to Vancouver to see an NFL game. Facilities in our friends north of the border, I don't know if any one of them really are more outstanding than the other. But I think going more to the northwestern side of the Americas essentially, and going to more Vancouver. Okay. I think that's where I'd be if I want to go to Canada for a game.
Canada did not make my list.
That's fair.
That. Although my wife went to Calgary earlier this year.
She did seem to enjoy Calgary.
She loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Our good friends up there in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Yes. Number 3 for me, it is Dublin, Ireland. We are going with the Irish. It would be fun to watch a game there. Go to a couple pubs that only allow like 8 people in. But it would be Dublin, Ireland. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Number 2 for me, it would be going to Germany, but not Munich. I would love to go to Berlin for a game because I think just something a little bit different there. Not Munich, go to Berlin. Either one works. But going to Germany for a game. But for me, let's go with Berlin. I think would be a great time to go up there and go see a game in Germany.
The answer, number 2, is any big city in Germany. I would just want to go there.
Any big city in Germany does work.
Whether it's Frankfurt, whether it is Munich, Berlin, just go watch a game in Germany. That would be a lot of fun. But it would be like Munich's one where their biggest stadium is. With Bayern Munich, their big soccer club. But yeah, Germany.
Just going to Germany in general would be a good time. Number one for me is Dublin, Ireland. I think it'd be a great time. Okay. I need more excuses to try and go over there, and I think watching an NFL game there would be fantastic. Plus, we now know the internet goes out, they give you free beer.
Mine, it's Wembley Stadium in London.
That's fair.
That's where I think it would be a lot of fun. Plus, London would be a great place to visit. Those would be my 4. Hit us up on our Bago Tires text line. Let us know what your 4 would be. Coming up next, we go through the halfway point. More over-unders next. Coming up at 3 o'clock is K-State women's basketball. There's another double dip. K-State women. And then in the evening time, K-State men will be in action. So we do not have any high school football this week due to K-State doubleheader action on the hardwood. We've got Washburn men's basketball and women's basketball this evening. The men will be on Country 106.9. The Washburn women will be on stream online. You can go to the Washburn website or Country 106.9, My Country 106.9 as well. So we got basketball tonight all over the place. 2 games for the Washburn men and women. K-State's in action. Of course, KU played the North Dakota State Bison. KU did not cover in the game. However, they did win the contest. But we all know that that's not important. Still salty about that, Fulton. Still salty. Well, we've done a pretty good job of throwing the overs and unders at the beginning of the year. We put together 20 over-unders every day during training camp of the most important players in and for the Kansas City Chiefs. Went through a bunch of them on defense on Wednesday, offense yesterday. Now we're going to the most important players this year. We're going to start off with Patrick Mahomes. Before training camp started, we said, all right, let's do the Vegas lines on these. Because Patrick Mahomes, you could bet on these.
We did.
All righty. Patrick Mahomes touchdown passes. Over under 34.5. Right now, Patrick Mahomes through 8 games has 21 touchdown passes. He is on pace to take that now. As long as he stays healthy, he will get over 34.5 touchdowns.
Yeah, fairly
That's
easily he should go.
Yes. Yeah.
Go and clean that.
I mean, right now he should throw for about 40 touchdowns. Actually, I think it's 43 right now is what is technically on pace for. So right now, Vegas sweating that one maybe a little bit. Patrick Mahomes, passing yards, 4,800. Well, Patrick Mahomes leads the NFL in passing yards and yards per game. At 325 yards per game, that would be a career high. And he's at 2,600 yards after 8 games. He is on pace to break the NFL record for passing yards in a season. Now, it helps you get that 17th game, but are we thinking Patrick Mahomes plays that 17th game?
And that becomes the question, depending on, how some things go there.
But right now, he is easily on pace for 4,800 yards passing. All righty. We threw this one out there as a couple of fun ones. Times he brings up the street ball reference during a celebration. Well, he already did that. We put that on at a hack because we're like, will he mention that? He did. He definitely did. That was my fun one. Your fun one has yet to happen.
I need it, though. I need it so much.
A behind-the-back pass under a half. I was saying, no, he ain't going to do it.
I need it.
You think he is?
I need it.
Yeah, he definitely had to bring up the old street ball.
Yeah.
Can't get to his second read. Yeah, he did that week 2. I don't think behind the back's coming though.
It's probably not, but I mean, I need it. He's done it in practice. He did it in training camp so much.
Not during the.
I know.
Not during an actual play. Do they have a play where he does a behind the back pass?
They should. They should put it in.
I think they have. I don't think they'll ever run it though. I don't.
They should do a variation on a Statue of Liberty play. Instead of hand goes straight high behind the back, it's Pat fakes it and somehow flips it behind. I need it.
Mm-hmm. The best chance for that is if he takes the snap and then turns this way and then throws it to somebody, going in front of him.
That's what I want.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Let's go with Travis Kelce. All right. We pegged the over-under for Travis Kelce at 9.5 touchdowns. Travis Kelce has 7 already leading the NFL, and I think he's getting one on Sunday. So I think he is going to end up with double-digit touchdowns. So I think he is definitely on pace. So we pegged that one maybe a little bit low, but still touchdowns. I think he'll end up with 11. That's what I'm going to go. He's going to tie with his career. So I think he's going to get 4 more over the next 8 games. Will he have the most touchdowns as a tight end? The answer, yes or no.
Most likely going to be yes.
So far, he's got the most touchdowns out of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really think about it, with Mark Andrews struggling to stay healthy, he is by far leading the tight ends in touchdowns. Darren Waller has been a no-show. So you've got 7 touchdowns for Travis Kelce. Andrews has 5, but he's been dinged up. Zach Ertz with 4, and then Mike Gesicki with 4. So he's got a lead on the tight ends. Next one for Travis Kelce, over under 1,100 receiving yards. Travis Kelce right now has got 660 yards receiving. So I like his chances.
It's on pace
of getting 1,200 yards. But that one's real. Like we did good there.
Yeah,
we did good on that one.
We're looking pretty good on that one.
Patrick Mahomes has exceeded expectations thus far, according to the Vegas numbers. Travis Kelce has exceeded it according to what we put out there. 1,100 yards receiving, 9.5 touchdowns. Even Travis Kelce continues to exceed expectations, which is flat out remarkable. He is going to get to the 10,000 yard mark here, probably within maybe 5 games. He's at 9,600 yards. Going to get to that elusive 10,000 receiving yard mark.
He should, as long as his year goes about the way he wants it to. Should get there before the end of the regular season.
Alrighty, yeah, you threw in there a passing touchdown.
They have done funny goal line stuff still, but yet the one I need is just Travis throwing it forward. But I was right in the idea that they're going to see some funny goal line stuff.
I think Kadarius Toney's taking that hope.
I think he is, and if I had a chance, I would. Andy Reid's letting Kadarius Toney throw a football. It's going to happen.
So you're more confident in that than maybe anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am very. If he doesn't, I will be sad.
You'll be sad. Okay.
Tony's got an arm.
Mm-hmm.
Do something weird.
Oh,
just,
they do stuff
just
weird.
let me see Kadarius Toney air a ball out 65 yards to MVS.
Man, they do stuff weird, that's for sure. Alrighty, let's go now to the defensive side of things. The top 2 defensive players going into this year when it comes to these counting stats. Chris Jones. We pegged Chris Jones over under 9 sacks. He is at 5.5 right now.
Very much on pace.
5.5, so he's on pace to get over the 9 sacks, which we would hope that. Over under 15 games played. He's played in every single game thus far.
Yep, so far so good.
Mm-hmm. Last year, of course, he played in 14. The year before that, he played in 15. The year before that, he played in 13. So that's why we threw that in there. Games played for Chris Jones. Right now, he's played in every single game. Over under 7.5 tackles for loss for Chris Jones. Now, you're like, wow, 7.5, that's it. It's hard to get tackles for loss in the NFL. Much easier at the college level.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, he only had 8.
Yeah, well, our barometer,
Okay.
we set that. I mean, the year before that, he only had 3.
Yep. So we set it at 7.5. He's got 6. Chris Jones is playing as good as he's ever played. He really, really has.
Truly.
Going back to that 2018 year when he was an absolute machine. And then does he get an interception? So far, no. How many batted balls does he have this year?
3.
He's got 3. That's pretty dang good, to be honest with you.
He's been in the vicinity of some.
2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery. So Chris Jones has been playing lights out. He's been playing excellent. So he has outperformed. And the reason we're putting this together is to show you that these are the expectations, one, for Patrick Mahomes Vegas put together. He's outperformed Vegas. But Chris Jones has played better than what we would hope for because he's on pace to get past what we thought would be right around what he would get, and he's exceeding our expectations. So that is a great situation to be in for Chris Jones. Next, we're going to go to Nicholas Bolton, your favorite player on the Chiefs defense.
I never thought a Missouri Tiger would be my favorite Chiefs defensive player, but I think Bolton's rapidly climbing up there.
But here we are, right?
Here we are.
Nick Bolton, not a big sack guy. All right? He's not. Last year, he did not have a sack.
Nope.
Did not have a sack. So we put the over under for sacks at 1.5 because we thought he's going to get 1.
Can he get 2?
Yeah.
We're here. Yeah,
he's already got it.
We got the over.
We undersold Nick Bolton
He
on
had
the
2 sacks in 1 game.
Yes. We have undersold him on the sack aspect of it. Next, does Nick Bolton make a Pro Bowl or AP All-Pro team? Still don't know yet.
That's still kind of wishy-washy on if he will or not.
Yeah. Over under 110 tackles. Nick Bolton is the Grant Bruner of the NFL, apparently.
Just a tackling machine.
He has 73 tackles already this year. But the crazy thing about it is he's got 49 of them solo.
Yeah.
73 tackles. We set the over-under at 110 because he had 112 last year. He's at 73 right now. He's on pace for 150 tackles. That's absurd. Who leads the NFL in tackles? Do we know?
Would be Rashaan Evans of the Atlanta Falcons at 95 total tackles.
Good Lord.
Nick Bolton is 14th in the NFL with 73 total tackles. Solo tackles, Nick Bolton is 11th with his 49. Jordan Brooks of Seattle has the most solo tackles.
Good Lord, 95 tackles. How does that person walk in the morning? Jeez.
Tells you what the Falcons are facing constantly.
Goodness. And then does Nick Bolton get his first ever career interception? He has not thus far.
No.
But Nick Bolton has been better than what we could have hoped for.
More sacks than we thought he was going to
Yep.
get, and is on pace to absolutely obliterate our thoughts on tackles. Man is just a tackling machine.
Now let's go to Justin Reed, the free agent signing, the biggest free agent signing on the defensive side of things, to be honest with you. And we went first with, because he's taking over for the Honey Badger, over under how many times he's going to throw his hands up in the air complaining at a teammate. Which, in Justin Reed's situation, a huge positive is that Dan Sorensen is not on the team.
That is helpful. It doesn't do with Daniel Sorensen.
So we put that over under at 1.5. I believe that under is going to hit, because I don't believe, it's more of a tongue-in-cheek one there.
Yeah, more just a little joke for us.
But what about games played? He's had some injury history in the past. He has not played a full season
Since his rookie year.
Yeah, and he only started 12 of those games.
Yeah.
Well, played in every game. So over the 15.5 so far, hit the over. What about interceptions? Right now, he doesn't have any. We put the line at 1.5. He's got some work to do. Same thing for defensive touchdowns. Doesn't have any of those, but got plenty of tackles, a couple PBUs, and he's played solid. I wouldn't say he's played great. I'd say he's played solid for Justin Reed.
Shows to point out Justin Reed does, in fact, have an extra point made, which is still the funnest thing ever.
Yeah, he does. That's incredible.
He also has 7 kickoffs for 5 touchbacks.
Dude.
It's so funny every time I think about it. It's so funny.
It was to the point where during the game, we were like, let him kick, not the actual kicker.
Yes!
That's remarkable.
Sitting here just be like, no, just let Justin Reed do it. I still believe he should have been doing the kickoffs because of the simple fact of then every person out there is a sure-handed tackler.
Yeah. All righty. Our last one, we went with Harrison Butker.
Yeah, speaking of kickers.
Yeah. Over under. Was he going to connect on a 56-yarder or longer?
Yeah, he did.
Kudos to you, sir. I said no. I didn't think he would. But he hammered a 62-yarder.
I told you at some point he's going to try out there for a bomb and was going to hit it. My guy.
And he did. He crushed it. No question.
62.
Does he have a game-winning field goal as time expires?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Doesn't have the buzzer beater yet.
Not yet. Over under 27 field goals field goal attempts for Harrison Butker. He's not going to get there because he missed 4 games.
Yeah, like he's at 8 right now through the 4 games he's played.
Yeah. So we've played 8 games. He's got 8. Going to be hard to get there, but he's had 28 last year, 27 the year before. So that's why we put the line at 27 field goal attempts. And finally, over under 4 missed extra points. He's at 1.
He's only at 1.
And 3 missed field goals. That's maybe more important.
Yeah, that's definitely more important.
When it comes to the biggest and most important players for the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes exceeded expectations. Chris Jones has exceeded expectations. Travis Kelce exceeded expectations. Nick Bolton, he's exceeded expectations. Justin Reed, I would say we are who we thought he was. Okay?
Yeah.
And then
so
Harrison Butker.
Injuries have affected projections.
Yeah. And but I'll say this, I've been pleasantly surprised. I mean, that 62-yarder was a big one, but you can't be missing extra points. That's the thing you can miss a 50-yard field goal. You can't miss a 35-yard extra point.
And for what it is worth, Butker is still not 100% healthy. He openly has talked about it, and the fact that you watch him, he's not doing his same run-ups. He's not taking his usual step backs. that is affecting things. He'll be fine. He'll get it worked in the groove stitch. Once the ankle gets even a lot better, he'll be fine. History says he'll be a very accurate, consistent kicker. But I agree. Missing extra points are kind of the ones you're like, can you not?
Overall, I think, and that's the reason why the Chiefs are 6-2, and they have the best offense in the NFL. They've exceeded expectations, at least when it comes to the statistical category. Statistical categories are more on the, combining, because you have one good game, you have one bad game. The Chiefs have laid one stinker this year, and that is against the Colts. If you take that game out, when you look at the numbers, always look at the numbers, and then do those numbers match up what you're seeing? And the answer is yes. Juju exceeded expectations in numbers on the field. Chris Jones, numbers, watching him, yes. Mahomes, yes. Kelsey, yes. So that is how I look at the numbers. And, at this midway point, a lot of these numbers, they're hitting the overs, which means you're going to have a lot of success. And right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are one win away from going 7-2 and taking care of business. Coming up in the 2:00 hour, KU takes on Texas Tech, the Red Raiders. Why is that such a big game? Well, if Texas Tech wins, they go bowling. We'll preview that with Chris Level of the Red Raider Radio Network coming up. Final hour of Mic'd Up on this Red Friday edition. Thank you so much for joining us. Jake and Fulton Caster with you. As always, hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Check us out on Twitter at SportsOn580. That's SportsOn580. And you can check us out on our YouTube page, youtube.com/@SportsOn580. Go to YouTube, very simple. Type in Sports on 580. Got all of our recaps from all of KU, K-State, Washburn High School, interviews during the week, all of that, plus our shows, Mic'd Up and 580 Sports Talk, coming to you on our YouTube page. We have got another edition of On Second Thought, where we'd like to make a mulligan, if you will. We would like to do a do-over, a breakfast ball on one of our takes this week. Always a fun segment where we get to go, damn, we were wrong. And we'll get more into Andy Reid and the Chiefs injury report. But right now, to talk all things KU and Texas Tech football, we bring in Chris Level, sideline reporter for the Red Raider Radio Network. Chris, how are things down there in Lubbock, Texas?
Jake, what's up, man? I'm doing good. It's cold here, actually. So
really?
Cold and windy. Oh yeah. Not especially comfortable for this Texan here.
What is uncomfortable for people in Lubbock?
Well, anything below 40 or 30 degrees. We're not used to some of those temps that you guys, it's normal for you guys. But no, all kidding aside, all is good. But yeah, a little cold front moving through, but it'll be all right.
Does Lubbock get snow?
Yeah, I mean, occasionally. Yeah, I mean, not like the Midwest or anything like that. But I mean, yeah, you can get some serious wintry mix and precip and all those things. Absolutely.
Well, this has been Weather Talk about Lubbock here on the show.
Yeah, there you go.
I suppose we can get to some football side of things. All right, on the broad spectrum, Joey McGuire in his first year, how has it gone?
Yeah, well, there weren't a lot of expectations here. Regionally and around the league, supposed to finish the back half of the standings and all those things. And the thing about it, Joey got everybody excited, and I think people still are looking big picture. They just haven't been able to keep quarterbacks healthy, plural, and it's been very frustrating. I think they're pretty good on defense. They've got a first round likely draft pick in Tyree Wilson up front, and I think that defense has kept the Red Raiders in a lot of games. But offensively, they just turned it over way too much. And but Joey, he's great, man. Energy. It's kind of an outside the box hire. People are genuinely excited about the direction that the program is going. He's recruited well. But again, at some point, you got to win, and they've lost 4 of their last 5, and he's very frustrated about that aspect of it. And so, trying to get right starting tomorrow night.
You mentioned the quarterback spot. If Donovan Smith has stayed healthy the entire year, how much different is their record, you think?
Well, I think Tyler Shuck wins the job in fall camp. He goes down in the first game. I think if he stays healthy, I think they're bowl eligible already. I just think he was that good coming out of camp. Now, as we've seen him try to come back after
Mhm.
missing 6 to 7 weeks, it's just the sport is too hard to come back and be what you were to start. Donovan's problem is he's just turnover prone. He's a good athlete, big kid. He just throws it to the other team a bit too much and doesn't take care of it. And then Barron, I think Barron Morton is the future. That's the
Mhm.
guy that I think that they were ready to hand him the reins and just let him take it and just build around him. But he got dinged up last week again, and he's going to miss the game tomorrow. So, but Shuck is likely to start, and I think Shuck's starting to look like he did in August, and that's a process. So we'll see kind of what it goes there. But it's been a decade long. I mean, Mahomes is the only guy. There was a year there where he played most of the season. He was a bit dinged up, but I and he's the guy that's won the job the last 2 years. He's just been hurt both years. He's an older guy, studies a ton. He'll get them more often than not into the right plays and or out of the wrong play, those kinds of things. I think that part is what excites offensive coordinator Zach Kittley, just because you're not going to have a young kid in there that's trying to force something that's not there. But you're right. I think you nailed it, Jake. I'm kind of fascinated to see, because if you can't score enough, I mean, Kansas is going to get some rushing yards and things like that, but you've got to be able to put some up yourself. It's just so weird around here to be talking about a better defense than your offense, but that's just been the reality of it, because that's where all the injuries and inexperience have been on this side of the ball. And the defense is, for the most part, relatively healthy.
How important is it for this team to get to a bowl game? If you win 2 of the last 3 and, you finish KU, Iowa State, Oklahoma, so it's not as if, hey, we feel like they're in Lubbock. Hey, we can beat KU, we can beat Iowa State, and, Oklahoma is not Oklahoma this year. So how important would it be to get to a bowl game?
Yeah, well, and that's, I mean, Joey's desperately trying to, you hadn't been to back-to-back bowl games since, I think, 2013 and 14, I think it was, if my years are right. I mean, it's you haven't won 7 games until 2015. I mean, there's been some different, things that I think they're trying to achieve still. But, it's not like Joey's going to lose his job if he doesn't get to a bowl game or anything like that. But he wants to point the program, trending up and to end the season. And all 3 of these games are winnable. But as we know in this league, you could lose them all too. That's just that's where you're at with this league. Everybody's competitive. Everybody's good. Everybody's got playmakers. And so, but I find it hard to believe that they could get to a bowl game if they don't win tomorrow night. And I think there's a sense of urgency around here. So we'll see what they do with it.
All right. My last 2 questions, 2 for the road. What's Mark Adams' team's going to look like this year? You got Banner, who seems to be like in his 9th year of college. How good is this Lubbock team going to be this year on the hardwood?
Yeah, they'll be competitive. I don't. It's going to take them a while to be as good as they were last year. They're much younger, and they're smaller than they were last year. Their best player is on crutches right now, and probably not healthy until late December. He was one of their prized transfers in Fardaw's AMAC, and so. But they're going to guard you, and I think they're a much better shooting team than they were last year. They're just not going to be as good on defense, because they were just swimming in 6'6" guys last year that were could switch off and positionless and all those things. But it's going to be Mark's going to have to be a little bit patient with this group as they kind of figure out what they are, what they're good at, what the rotation looks like, and all those things. But Banner's probably on paper your best guy. Davion Harmon, who Big 12 fans will remember from Oklahoma a couple years ago. He's going to be one of their best guys, and I love the way he's trying to run the team and things like that. But they'll be competitive. But again, just like I said in football, the league is brutal. It'll chew you up.
Lastly, what was it like having our superhero Patrick Mahomes back at Red Raider land? I gotta know, did you get a chance to talk with him there at halftime when he got honored in the Ring of Honor? Did you get a chance to chat with him? And what was the reception like for one QB1?
Yeah, it was sold out. It was an unbelievable environment. Tech, picked the wrong time to play their worst home game of the season, unfortunately. But Pat was, I think it was pretty emotional for him. I think it was a pretty neat deal, have his name up at the stadium permanently, and pretty neat deal. I think I think Tech did a good job of honoring him, and the fans, obviously there were 60,000 plus in there. That was awesome to see. And I briefly got a chance to talk to him and Brittany after the game was over, and good to catch up. He's in the MVP race again. I know y'all are shocked, but fun to see him. And Tech really matters to him, and it's not fake. It's very genuine. He really appreciates the opportunity that he had here, and he really does try to give back. And he's got a great relationship with Joey now, and still talks to Cliff Kingsbury and all those things. But yeah, it was fun to have him back for a night anyway.
Yeah, now we know what it's like having a quarterback throw it 68 times a game. So it's must have been exciting times back there.
There you go. That's
so
right.
I figure there are people in Lubbock are watching a lot of Chiefs action when it comes to Sundays, and you're definitely getting a lot of fun when it comes to that. Chris, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Have a great call tomorrow, and hopefully the weather warms up a bit.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Appreciate you having me on, man.
That is Chris Level for the Red Raider Radio Network, also publisher of Red Raider Sports. Does a fantastic job. Always enjoy Chris when he comes on to chat a little Red Raider football. Yeah, that was a bummer of a game for Texas Tech because they got smoked against Baylor at home.
Yeah, that was the worst time for them to have a bad game.
Yeah.
Having a bad game when the King's in town.
All righty. Tyler Shuck getting healthier. You worried?
No.
Oh, we got this?
No. Hawks all day. Why are we worried?
Yeah.
Why would I be worried?
It doesn't matter if they win or lose this game.
Nah, we're good. They're going to win, but we're good. They'll win.
Daniel starting or Bean starting?
I think it's Bean. I'm really wondering what they're going to do with that because if just Bean's been playing well or well enough, but the offense is better with Daniels in it. I don't know how they're going to perfectly handle that. I think it's going to be a little bit longer until Daniels gets his job back. But I mean, there's a benefit. You don't like pulling guys mid-game, but there's a little benefit of having Daniels on that sideline. If Bean finally starts to slip and slide there, you can just bring in Jalen. But also, I mean, I'm a believer. You don't lose starting jobs because of injury. So as soon as Daniels is healthy, good to go, he should be back in there.
I disagree with you. You can lose your job due to injury unless you are a specific individual. Jalen Daniels for 5.5 games showed why he was the guy.
Yes.
So I have no problem if you decide to go back to Jalen Daniels. I don't. But you definitely can lose your job due to injury. No question in my mind, with the caveat of, Patrick Mahomes. Like, we're talking like, you got to be that dude.
Fair.
Where to me, like, that's why I would have started Will Howard. To me, Adrian Martinez is not that dude.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, it's not why they lost the game. Don't give up 31 points to K-State defense in the first half.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay. That's the thing there. But I do. You can lose your job due to injury because there are a lot of guys who are, and I'm going to say, on a football team, there's probably about 80% of guys are replaceable.
Okay.
They are replaceable. Some young guy just didn't get the chance. There are a lot of variables. Maybe he's a gamer. Maybe he's not a good practice player. Maybe he just needed a chance. Maybe he needed a spot. Whereas Bean has not been like, oh my gosh, he's been just otherworldly. I mean, they didn't win the game against Oklahoma State because of Jason Bean. They won the game against Oklahoma State because Devin Neal went all Barry Sanders. Okay, so that's why I think you can lose your job, but it depends on who you are when it comes to, can you lose your job due to injury? I mean, Wally Pipp. I mean, we need a new reference than that. Okay, perfect example. You ready? Trent Green. Trent Green got hurt. You're telling me then, once Trent Green was back, bench Kurt Warner? Like, you can lose your job due to injury.
Okay.
Trent Green was a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, for the Rams. And then all of a sudden, some guy bagging groceries playing for the Iowa Barnstormers comes in and has arguably two of the greatest seasons back-to-back in NFL history.
It's true.
But Jason Bean ain't Kurt Warner.
No, Jason Bean ain't Kurt Warner.
No, I would start Jalen Daniels. No, let's say Jalen Daniels had only played 3 games.
I'm still starting Jalen Daniels.
I would probably use the redshirt rule. But maybe not, because you still got 3 games left in the bowl game. I don't know. Doesn't matter. He's played in 6 games. So, but no, I would start Jalen Daniels in a heartbeat if he's healthy. Thank you, Jason Bean. You are a huge, and you saw how emotional Jason Bean was.
Yeah,
after
Jason
the
was
game.
emotional when KU got the win.
Yes, and he should be.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a better backup than most.
Yeah. He's a pretty good quarterback.
Hey, let's look at backup quarterbacks down there in Oklahoma State right now.
Yeah, I mean, look at Garrett Rangel.
Woo. Coming up next, we've got our on second thought. We got a redo. We'll get to that coming up next. Alrighty, on second thought, where we do a little redo. Hit the rewind button. What are you going with?
For me this week, this is one of those weird weeks where I don't have anything really egregious where I'm like, man, I really wish I hadn't said that. But I will say, back on the beginning of the week on Monday, we were previewing some college hoops action, and I didn't have a lot of faith in K-State to cover 18 points against UTRGV. So I was like, they might not be good.
UTRGV
You don't need to add all the other letters.
Of down south Texas.
You make no sense.
Near
but
the Mexican border.
I had little faith in K-State. I was like, man, I don't know if they'll be able to score, all this and that. Man, K-State, I owe you a little bit of an apology. You should have more faith that at least against lower competition that they can blow the doors off some people. So it's not a big one this week, but K-State hoops, Jerome Tang, I owe you guys a little more credit and your ability to release, at least against lower competition, how well they'll be able to play. Heck, they might do bad things to Cal tonight. UC Davis beat Cal. Cal's not good.
I don't know if we know if basketball teams are good right now.
It's difficult to know. It's been 1 or 2 games for most.
What's been like the best game? Like most teams have played 2 games, right?
Yeah.
Is there any decent game? Like, is the very first decent game going to be Michigan State versus Kentucky?
Well, no, because I'm going to double check that I'm correct on what's happening tonight before I say what I think is for sure happening tonight. I just want to confirm it. Yeah. I don't know if this will be good and close the entire way, but Michigan State and Gonzaga play today.
Oh.
They're playing in the Pre Armed Forces Classic. They're playing on a naval ship.
Oh, they're playing
on the USS Abraham Lincoln.
They're playing on an aircraft carrier. They did
Yeah.
that before, and that did not work out well.
The aesthetic was cool.
Yes.
The actual gameplay and what have you was not.
No, it's terrible.
But it's like, I mean, we're going to get a good game of that tonight. At least I think, Gonzaga's an 11.5 point favorite because Gonzaga is so good. But I mean, Gonzaga, Michigan State could be entertaining, but no, like so far it's not been high level hoops, but that usually doesn't begin until we see things like, the Champions Classic. Like, the Champions Classic is usually the indicator of, all right, now we're going to start playing serious basketball and all of that and see what happens. So we at least get a potentially good one tonight.
Gonzaga, do they play tonight?
Yeah, today.
Gonzaga
and Michigan State, 5:30 p.m. today.
5:30.
Yeah.
Oh.
What'd you read that as?
No, I was trying to find it. Michigan State's not even ranked. Hold on a second. TCU is ranked 14th in the country in basketball.
Thank you for joining us, Jake. Yeah.
Well, don't say thank you for joining me. You stop it. I'm going to throw some. Man, it is November the 11th. You think I give a damn about TCU basketball right now?
No, I know you don't.
Ain't nobody care about TCU basketball.
No, very few do.
Don't be like, welcome to today. Get out of here with that.
I thought you would have paid a little more attention when this first top 25 poll came out.
I don't give a crap about the top 25 of basketball in the month of November. Who cares? Hey, I knew they were top 10. That's
top
all,
5.
That's all. I'm going to fight you later today. That's going to happen. Folks, all of a sudden, if you see man has been left in Joplin, can't find a ride home, you'll know who that is. You gotta tell me that I don't even know about. See, I knew California sucks at basketball because they just suck at everything right now.
Yeah, they're the least athletically invested Power 5 team in the country.
Like, I knew TCU wasn't like TCU of old. I didn't think they were top 14 in the country.
I mean, they probably shouldn't be. That's a little insane.
If I said top 15, you'd have been like, no, they're top 14.
No, I wouldn't have done that too. I'm not going to get that specific. I'm not going to do that.
Top 10, top 5. Come on now.
Multiples of 5? Yes, you can do that.
Can you finish in the top 5?
I don't know. They're playing well, right? They've played nobody for 2 games.
Oh, they're playing well. Yeah, against directional wherever. Who did they play in their very first game? Yeah, Omaha. Yeah, okay.
They've played Omaha, North Dakota State.
They haven't covered either game, so don't tell me they're playing well.
But no, the game against Duke will be the real indicator. If they can hang with Duke or even beat them, then I'll have a little more faith of them being able to finish as a top 5 team. But I worry against some of the higher level competition, the lack of a true dominant interior guy is going to be a problem. But also, it's against lower level competition, so that caveat is important. But their defense looks tenacious with the guys they have right now, and I think that's going to cause some problems for teams.
Well, Duke's top 8 team. So now, from now on, I got to make sure.
No, Duke's, you can say top 10.
No, I got to say top 8.
No, you can do multiples. I literally just told you to do multiples of 5. I just said that.
No.
I just said that.
No, I got to do.
You are ridiculous.
Top 8.
You are ridiculous.
No, you're being ridiculous.
You're being ridiculous.
You are throwing out way too much bold accusations.
You're out of order.
You think I care about TCU football or basketball? Hell, I barely care about TCU football at this point in time. Want to do a good old redo. That would have been what I thought was going to happen last night of my 5-leg parlay. Atlanta got their butt kicked.
Yes, they did.
Kyle Pitts sucked. Drake London, not good. DJ Moore, not good. It almost was a full fade in this situation, but Marcus Mariota did go over passing yards. So I did not go skunkless, but man, 1 of 5. Woof.
Bad day.
Should have bet the opposite on that one. Not a good effort there when it comes to my betting last night. That game sucked last night.
Not great.
I watched like the first 15 minutes of the KU game, and KU was up 40-18. I was like, what else do I need to do? It was not good sports watching last night.
So, I mean, KU beating a team by 40 is very entertaining for me.
They didn't even beat a team by 24.
What? When they were up by a bunch early, it was very entertaining for me.
Well, yeah, but once you get up by like, so is that your line like 40? Then it becomes not entertaining?
No, watching my teams blow out somebody will be forever enjoyable no matter what the score is.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to get a baseline here.
There's an increased level of enjoyment if I hate the team that they're blowing out. Like when KU blew out Missouri, I had never been happier in my life.
Okay.
When KU basketball just blew the doors off Missouri, that was, oh man, top 5 moment of my life.
When KU got up 40-18, I was like, well, this game sucks.
I was chuckling.
And
Jalen Wilson just being on an absolute heater, I was just smiling ear to ear.
But then, I hope they lose every game the rest of the year. So mad at you, KU. Coming up next, we'll get the injury report from the Kansas City Chiefs, and somebody is going to miss a game for the first time in his career. We'll get to that next. We are looking forward to the weekend. Should be a fun one. A lot of good football. KU K-State.
A lot of good football.
A lot of good football coming up this Saturday and Sunday for the weekend. Washburn's got their final football game of the regular season. If they win, certain things happen. 7-4, they might go to a bowl game. We'll have to wait and see, but they got to win against Missouri Southern coming up tomorrow. That's at 2:00. So a lot of good things happening for the weekend. The Kansas City Chiefs injury report is out. The Chiefs have one person who is going to be out, and this is going to be the first game that he has missed as an NFL player. That is McCole Hardman. His abdomen injury, did not practice for 3 straight days. 3.5 years. No missed games due to injury. McCole Hardman. Availability is an ability.
It's an ability. It's an important one.
And he's going to be out. So no McCole Hardman. Jody Fortson, full go, full participant all 3 weeks. We do have a questionable. Jerick McKinnon listed as questionable. Now, he was a full participant on Wednesday and Thursday, limited day. They say shoulder, knee, hamstring. Just sit him.
Man's got 3 different levels having a problem.
Yeah. Almost head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Yeah.
No, sit him. Don't play him.
You know what? Ronald Jones has been complaining about being inactive in every game so far. Sit Jerick McKinnon, activate Ronald Jones so we can then sit on the sidelines and do nothing while active.
Or we give Pacheco a bigger load.
We should do both.
They really have been made Ronald Jones inactive every game. That's funny.
Buddy is so upset about it.
Yeah, you know.
And I mean, I can't blame him. He came to this team thinking he was going to get a starting job or something similar to it. And just, my guy, you have not been good. You were not good at the chances you got in the preseason and apparently through practices. The other 3 are better. Sucks to suck. Welcome to the NFL.
Them's the breaks.
Yeah, them's the breaks, kid.
Well, Jerry Sneed was limited yesterday, but a full participant today. For some reason, actually, the Jacksonville Jaguars just released their injury report. They only have 2 people on the injury report.
Good for Jackson.
And Rayshawn Jenkins will be questionable due to a concussion.
Very healthy Jaguars team.
Yeah. Very healthy. By the way, we were right. Josh Allen listed as questionable.
Told you. He is going to be questionable in a game time decision up until Sunday.
No, they know he's not playing.
Well, but they're not going to say that.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
going to say he's a game time decision. Like they know he's not playing. They're not going to say it until Sunday.
He was limited today in practice.
Oh, he was limited. Unlike Mr. Unlimited.
They didn't even gonna put doubtful there.
No.
There's lies. Jordan Poyer out. Greg Rousseau out. For the Vikings, Cameron Dantzler, Dalvin Tomlinson out. So they're pretty healthy too. So Josh Allen. Come on, Bikes.
Skull.
Let's go.
Skull.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Let's go. Let's go, Vikes.
I'm saying the more fun word.
Final thoughts: Chiefs versus the Jaguars. Not getting a whole lot of attention nationally. The Chiefs versus the Jaguars game.
Yeah, no, this is one of the ones that not a lot of people are talking about this week. But I think the line's 9.5. When a line started to sit around there, you're not expecting it to be a competitive game. And like we've said, the Jaguars are not a bad team, so to speak. Their defense is number 10 in scoring defense. They can get pressure on a quarterback. They can generate some turnovers. Their issue is in the secondary. Their secondary can't get beat. So the passing attack for the Chiefs might be able to have a day in this one. And really, it just comes down to if the Chiefs play their style of football, can avoid simple mistakes, can try and just stay on schedule and really try to play the game their way, It will likely be, a game that's never really in doubt. The Jacksonville never really feels like they can get a win. But this is the kind of game that this is a game that could go the way of the Colts if the Chiefs are not careful and focused. If they treat this like the Colts game and view it as kind of like, hey, we don't need to, use our A game. We can keep it vanilla. We can keep it basic. You will lose to Jacksonville. You have to try, at least in this game. You have to call a game with effort, with a game plan, with a strategy, which I think the Chiefs will do because I think they kind of learned a lesson from Indianapolis in week 3. But overall, I mean, unless the Chiefs really start shooting themselves in the foot, I don't think this game's ever really that close. Because I don't know if at any point when this game might turn into a Trevor Lawrence, you got to carry us, if he's developed enough to get to that point. Mm-hmm. But this is not a bad Jags team. They'll put up a good fight. They'll put up some points. But unless something crazy happens to Kansas City, this should be a fairly comfortable Chiefs win.
Take the Chiefs to cover? If I were to bet it, I would bet the Chiefs to cover.
Yeah, probably.
But I would not bet on that one. 9.5.
No, it's it.
If it was like 6.5, yes.
Yeah, when it's in those 1-score margins, I'll take them. But when they're in these 2-score ones, it just gets a little dicey.
Yeah, it
just feels dicey.
Stay away from it. This Jags team is a much better football team than the Colts, and so I do think that they're going to take them a little bit more serious. I am very interested in the Chiefs offensive line because they were not good against the Titans, which, speaking of the Titans, everyone for the Titans is out.
Yeah, they're not even fielding a competitive football team. Jeffrey Simmons out. Amani Hooker out.
Like, everybody's out. Like, I think there was like 8 dudes who are out. You gave it all for the game against the Chiefs.
Which what you do.
And now you're basically...
Golden opportunity there for you, Broncos. Golden opportunity.
I want to get this real quick. The injury report right now. They don't have it listed yet officially, but like every single person that played in the game is out. Like the Chiefs, they did anything and everything to try to get a win, and
they didn't.
And now
it's funny.
But I don't want the Broncos to win. I want them to be so bad.
Yes, but them winning is helpful because it puts the Titans that much lower. I know the Chiefs have the head-to-head, but push them lower.
I know what it sounds like. Tannehill might give it a go.
Yeah. Might have Ryan Tina throwback.
But I want to see the Chiefs offensive line.
Yeah.
I want to see if they have a bounce back game.
Facing Josh Allen, facing Trayvon Walker.
I want to see what kind of what effort they put together, because I think the Chiefs defense should be able to. And will the Chiefs defense start slow again and be terrible, and then do what they always do,
fired up late and just second half
cruise and be dominant? Like, that's fascinating how so many of their games are the same.
The exact same.
Yeah.
In every single way. Just the start slow and fast. Also, we want to talk about rookies not performing to expectations. Trayvon Walker not having a super spectacular rookie season there in Jacksonville.
It's because he shouldn't have been picked number 1 to begin with.
I agree. I'm with you.
Will you watch the Germany game?
Yeah. I don't know if I'll wake up extra early for it. That part legitimately probably depends on how tired I am when we get back from Joplin on Saturday. If I go to bed early, then I'll wake up early for it.
We should be back by.
We'll be back by a good time.
We should be back by 9.
But then it comes down to, do I want to immediately try and go to sleep that early so I can then wake up, or do I want to do anything else?
What time do they play?
8:30 a.m. I'm an 8-hour sleep guy. I'm just going to go to bed by midnight. I'm an 8 hours of sleep guy. And who knows, maybe we get back from Joplin and I got this to do.
8:30 is just too early, man. I can't do it.
We live different lives. We know this. There are 4 different lives lived among the 580 sports team with how we operate with mornings. You are the earliest because you also have children. Then Dan is a pretty normal, average person who probably wakes up at reasonable hours. Then you have me who can kind of do mornings. And then we have Brendan.
I feel like you, Brendan, and Dan are all honestly not too far from each other.
I don't know where Dan is in this. I don't know what his threshold for early is, because I'll be up by the end of the first quarter for that game. So I'll be up by 9:30.
Well, look at you. You early riser, you.
I don't have kids. So sue me that I get to sleep in. You made this choice. You made it. You must live with it.
Yeah, but I can explain it too. I'll be up at 6 o'clock. Never
Yeah,
fails.
because you're children.
Never fails. No, child. My daughter sleeps.
That's fair. That's fair.
She sleeps till 7:30.
I should not put this on her. It's your son.
She's my angel. She is my angel.
He, however, will be wide awake.
He will be wide awake, and we'll have already played with chalk. We'll have gone out in the backyard to swing. We'll probably have colored, and then we'll probably have watched some type of cartoon, all before 7:30.
Man, get that kid on Tom and Jerry. Get some classic cartoon violence in there.
I wouldn't even know where to find that. I just go to YouTube.
HBO Max if you got it.
I'll just go to YouTube and you find everything.
It's
on
right
YouTube,
there,
including our show. Coming up next, we'll wrap things up with the mic drop. Alrighty, Fulton, what is your mic drop?
The Kansas football Jayhawks not only bowl eligible, but they're going to get their 7th win this weekend because they're going to beat Texas Tech They're going to have 7 wins. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fantastic. And more importantly, they're going to clinch their first winning season in 14 years. They've not had a season above 500 since 2008. It's awesome.
I think KU has a better chance of winning than K-State does. I think Baylor's playing very well right now.
They are playing very well right now.
And judging by end of the year games for Kansas State, they don't play well at the end of the year. So I'm going to take Baylor to win, and I will take K-State or KU to cover the 3.5.
KU Hater LeBron back, folks.
Well, yes. I hope they lose every basketball game the rest of the year. That will do it for this edition of Mic'd Up. If you missed anything, head to our website, 580wibw.com. We've got a double dip of hoops. That is right. No 580 Sports Talk. You can go to our YouTube page and check out Dan and Brandon's picks for the upcoming weekend on our YouTube page at Sports on 580. But coming up next, we got K-State women's hoop, followed by the men's hoops. And we'll talk to you on Monday. Have yourselves a great sports weekend.